It's Terry, and I am live. Hopefully, you're hearing me, but I am here, and I've been preparing things for the fall. While I'm here, things are looking great. You know, this had popped out of its original container. This is my beautiful Cattleya Pinion Amazing crossed with, well, that is a cross of Cattleya Pinicorota times Dickeyana. And I've put it inside of another pot, filled it in, and have it in this 10-inch pot for stability. I have it staked up pretty good so that it is stable. And you can see that growth with the sheath, and here is another growth that has a new growth. So I am going to probably leave this in this basket, and what I hope that this will do is, you see, attach itself to the basket as it grows. I'm not even going to bother filling anything in. It is coming from that way as well. Now, when I talk about going into the fall and preparing things, I am primarily referring to a lot of plants that are hardening off. And when plants are hardening off or maturing, they don't want a lot of elements. They want minimal rain. They still want bright light, but minimal humidity along with that. They want a little less. It's like they want a little bit of a break. And when they get the continued conditions along with the coolness of the season, then that is a recipe for rot. That's just how it is. You just have to do your research. You have to know what your plant, the culture, where it comes from. Research is many things. Research can be going to your orchid society and finding out from someone else. Research can be yourself doing research. It could be your experience with a particular plant as far as what has not worked. You can eliminate that until you find something that does work, and therefore that's research, more or less. Trial and error is research. So I have not given a grade. I think I'm going to do that, do like a complete end of season grade as far as what I feel were the good things and the bad things, what did well, what I'm pleased about. You know, I mean, it's all I'm grading myself, really. And I am pretty harsh when it comes to that. But as far as preparation, you have to know your plants. And as I said, there are certain plants that want a lessening of nutrients and everything that they're receiving, rain, abundance in the rainforest. They want a lessening of that as the season comes to a close. They don't want it to stop us all at once, but a gradual tapering off. Same as what you would do when you bring the orchids out in the summer. You acclimate them to the conditions. You don't just throw them straight out into full sun. You acclimate them always to the new position, and that may require you to move them a few times, but you have to find that sweet spot, or else it's kind of a waste, because the plant will not benefit from any of the summer, which is the growth phase. Some signs that, besides temperature cooling off, some other signs that it is time to maybe move or protect. I'm referring to protecting. This is why I have moved this encycli over here. This is why I moved this particular Brassavola over here, because it has a history of losing its growth at the end of the season if I leave it out exposed too much to the elements. Now, on the other hand, these encyclias here, which were inside the cage, they thrive in this sort of weather, which is cooler, still pretty much a lot of sun, still some humidity because there's a lot of rain, but I have them underneath the roof line so that you can see they won't get direct rain if it rains. They will get some indirectly, which will dry off quickly, but they're not getting rained on, if that makes sense. These are my deciduous. As soon as their leaves turn green, not green, they're already green, yellowing and then brown, that's when it's the fall. That's a trigger to lessen up the water and prepare it for dormancy. So these things you're conscious of as an orchid grower. You know your plant that you have, your collection, and knowing how that plant wants to grow is essential. So here is a good example. This is Laelia anceps rhinobulba, and over here I thought I just put, oh, see, this is Laelia anceps cernua. This has just finished its growth, and I am protecting it from the elements, because if I do not, Laelias will lose their spikes, they will lose their new growths, and probably, most likely, will lose the whole plant, because black rot is what I am really trying to prevent. There are other ailments that are common in throughout the growth season, but black rot for me is always a fall thing to try to avoid. And you can see there's a spike there, and I believe over there maybe one developing, but there's a few regrowths. And so you have to protect the growths in the plants because you're protecting future blooms. As you can see, there is a spike in there, and we are really protecting future blooms. A lot of these plants that I am moving over have growths that are maturing, as I said, but they are also in sheath. And the sheath means that they will probably bloom after a brief period, and then we'll start pushing forward. Something from their spike, either late winter or early spring, and which is typical of bifoliates. And so you need to provide more of a protection with your bifoliates. And that's why I have most of my bifoliates that are here sitting on this table. I have all of them pushed to the back so that they are underneath the roof line. And you can see there's a sheath there. This is a yellow Arantiaca, which is of course, it's a bifoliate, and then it's a day tripper, which is a bifoliate. So you have to protect those things. And here is an encyclia that I have pushed under, and here is that's not what that is. Well, maybe that is. But in any event, that is really crucial for success for me. And this is also a time to look at the plant and evaluate whether or not it needs some dealing with. This morning, as I said, I just repotted my Penny and Amazing. I am in the process of remounting this Struggling Bursavala that actually has a little new growth. But I'm going to mount it on this piece of ceramic. And also I have saved my Julius, one of my Juliuses that I had here. We potted it in a nice big pot. So I've been doing some work, folks, getting things ready for fall. I've moved my Leon Lichtenstein over into more protection. It was sitting here next to my Luctone, one of my Luctones, which is already pushed underneath this. But as I said, in addition to pushing things for more shade or for more protection, you also need to bring things out of the shade and provide them with more sun, as I have done with my Barcarias, which are here. They are just completing their growth phase. They do bloom small, but after their growth phase, then they like higher light. Whereas before the growth season, they're in low light. So they like higher light, which will hopefully help them bloom. They put out long spikes with beautiful flowers. So, really, and as I said, this is another preparation. I mounted this encyclia, and I maintain moisture at the roots, but try not to get any moisture on bulbs or the new developing pseudobulbs, because these are where the new growths for next season will come, although they can come from previously bloomed, I suppose. So, yeah. And of course, obviously, as the temperature gets cooler, then you really need to provide more temperature, whether or not you need to bring them inside to give them more of a warmth, or whether you need to accessorize your porch or your your jungle with some sort of a heat, or you can always cover them up. But those are other things to be mindful of. But mostly, you want to protect the future blooms, and that means protecting them from the elements. The weather is the primary villain. And this is also a good time to get your plants rid of any leaves, although I do think that there is some benefit from the leaf litter, detritus that falls amongst the pots, because that will decompose too and add nutrients. So yeah, as the grow season closes, I have to particularly pay close attention to those that go into dormancy. Sophronitis, Bretonia, bifoliates, Lalias, really. So, but besides that, everything else is pretty self-explanatory. Research, research, research. Enjoy your blooms. Have fun. Don't beat yourself up if, you had some bud blast or you lost a few plants. It all happens. It all happens. As you can see, I really have 0 blooms here. But I do take them to my other place when they do come, just for show. And it is, as I said, it's the end of the season. But I really was looking forward to some Brassavolas, more of them. Because a lot of these have been just hanging out for a couple of years, waiting, since I had that big incident a few years ago in the greenhouse where I had my heater burn up my stuff, my Brassavolas primarily, and they were just established what I felt was a collection, and so I kind of had to start over. And I have been waiting a while and hoping, buying more and mounting, and hoping to see something. And I'm still waiting. I'm still waiting. Last year I had a very good success. I had a lot of blooms. My peach tree still hasn't bloomed. It's got a number of sheaths around it. Lots and lots of roots. And it was just divided last year, and it's putting up more growth. This is such a nice plant. But those sheaths have not given me any flowers yet. Here's another something that's been hanging out for a while that I got from Il Plantillo. It's a mica crossed with Apache Sunrise, and it gives me lots and lots of growths, lots of roots, massive plant, but it's just not big enough, I guess, to give me blooms, which is fine. I'm patient. And bugs are getting me. This is one of my Florida stars, and it is a stunning Florida stars. It has been repotted, and it has struggled. The growths that it put up this last time were extraordinary, and I believe it, yeah, it's putting out some new roots, which is great. So maybe give me another round of growths, but I'm pleased with everything. My little divisions that I just put on things that are doing well to, you know, this is one of my little solenodoses. And then here is something that I don't even know what it is, but it's attached itself. So, and there are other things that just don't progress further as far as when you got it. I got it when it had this growth. It blasted this one and blasted another one. Finally gave me this one, which is still maturing, and then it's putting up a lot. So I'm still waiting on it to catch up to the original, if you understand that. Here's another example. This is my BLC Copper Queen, which has always been a really big plant. This is actually a white one. I think I got this at Palmer. Yeah, this is a white one that never really gets copper. It's always bloomed nice for me. I hang it high in the winter in the greenhouse. Gets good humidity, good light. And this year it put up this growth after this nice growth, and it did not bloom. And you thought, yeah, that growth did. It's putting up a new growth. But I mean, look at those roots. I cannot be upset. And I've picked this up a million times just to show you. This is my Martin Wolf, which is also foliage. It's got scleriana in it, shorter. But love the color and the roots, because the ones that are on, look how green, red they are. That's beautiful. So, things are good. I am doing some repotting, remounting. This is my BC Helen. That is a big, big plant. It had sheaths that did not bloom. Here is my BLC Phoenix, Boothly Phoenix. It's giving me this growth, and perhaps one more, but there are no sheaths. This is probably growth. No sheaths, and you see how the plant grows so stupid wonky. So you just have to stake this one up. This is another one that will be affected by cooler, wetter temps. So if you see that in the forecast in the fall, you will have to protect this under an awning. And that's what I'm going to do. Although I want it to have a light, but what I'm going to do is put it here, because it still gets tons of light, but it is under the awning, protected. Same as how I've done it. This Edithiana, which is an Encyclia species, and in the past it has live lost growths because it remained out in too much of the elements. Same with my Sunset Glory. It should be giving me some sheaths and these nice growths. Give me some nice roots. It's not been repotted that long, but I don't want to lose those growths, because those growths mean future blooms. That's why it's under that awning. So You have to be mindful. And look, I'm not being mindful. I'm about to lose something. So let me just set it down and let me just get off of here. Yeah, let me get off of here and get it going. But that's really all I wanted to say. It is that time of the year. Be mindful, watch the forecast. Thanks for watching. Enjoy your orchids. Bye.